Welcome to another edition of Wings Weekly. Jay Kleinknecht here, along with head coach Scott Langer. Coach, home and home with Bismarck this weekend, and both teams winning on the road. So Friday night ends up in a 3-2 win for Bismarck here at the Odie. You guys scored early, just 43 seconds in, outshot them, outchanced them, outplayed them in just about every capacity that I could think of. But unfortunately, the final score, they have the advantage. We talked a little bit on Saturday, and you didn't really feel like there was anything that needed to be changed, and felt pretty good as a staff about the way things went Friday, with the exception of the score.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing was the outcome. I mean, we had the work ethic. We definitely played a lot with the puck, and instead of being without it, and they were pretty fortunate on some of their goals there. I mean, obviously we kicked the net off and the puck found its way in, but we sure did pepper them quite a bit. We just couldn't score. We ran into a really hot goaltender. Yeah. I thought he played outstanding. Obviously, he was the reason why they won that hockey game. He really did a great job against us. And, you know, some nights with a 56-game season, you're going to run into a goaltender like that. But not many games that we lose that I'm really happy about our performance. But I had a really tough time being upset at the work ethic and the way that our guys played that game. We were good. And they found a way to outscore us. So, as you said, we talked about not changing anything. I just didn't see that we needed to change anything. We really carried the pace of the play on Friday night.
Without a doubt. As you mentioned, good scoring chances that were turned away. I mean, a 2-on-1 where I thought DuBois had his second goal of the season pretty easily, and somehow or another, the Bismarck goaltender able to make that save, and there were a couple like that, like you said. And you're gonna run into that from time to time. But you turn it around, go back up to Bismarck on Saturday, and really same type of game. It felt like you guys were in control of that game for the most part, even though they've got you Wings being outshot 26-24, which I kind of question because it's only 4 shots on goal, both in the second and third. That seems a little surprising to me. But either way, a game where it felt like you controlled the pace and the tempo again, and you come away with a 3-1 win. What were your thoughts on Saturday's matchup?
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty similar. I mean, we worked really hard, exceptionally hard. Defensively, obviously, our goaltending was really good, but you know, we had the shots. I think we had 11 in the second, not 4, and 11 again in the third.
Yeah.
So I think at one point the shots went from 9 to it was 11 to 19 on one shot for them. So, but that's why we keep our own stats, just to make sure that things are clear when we look it over. We analyze the game, and we did own the chances, and we did own the shots, and we were very good offensively again, and that's a tough team to play against. They work extremely hard, and obviously they went back in net with a hot goaltender, and he stopped some big ones again. But I like the way our team responded. That was the biggest thing for me, is to kind of see where to get on the bus and to play the home and home, where nobody likes to play the home and home series, and the guys will tell you. Yeah. It's not the most fun thing, but they did. They boarded the bus. They were ready to go. We had to insert guys into the lineup, and we played with a completely different lineup than the night before, just because we're missing a key guy like Spencer Schneider, and guys stepped up. Guys played well, and we got a big night out of the Arquette, Goldowski, Reed line, and obviously the result we needed.
Absolutely. Well, a couple of questions to tie into that. One of which, and you just mentioned it, Reed with his big goal, Goldowski, that line really came through. You talked on Friday night before the game about how you needed some guys to step up and fill roles, like you said, with the incredibly important piece that Spencer Schneider plays on this team. For him to be gone, there were going to need to be some guys that fill those roles, and I thought Reed and DuBois, some of those guys did a really good job of that. How important is that to this team?
I think it's really important, and it shows to their character. They knew we needed it, and we got it from them. I mean, you look at DuBois. He's a guy that's in the lineup paying a price as a young guy. He's a heck of a hockey player. And the next thing you know, he finds himself on one of the top lines with Clayton Constantino and Liam Fraser, and that's a big step. Yep. And he's done a terrific job in that role. And certainly it's great to see that. And then, Mike Reed, who's been on a little bit of a drought, comes into the game and has 2 big points. And, that whole Arquette line, you can play him against any line on your opposition. Whether
Right.
it's their top line, they're good where they shut teams down, or they can play against the bottom line and spend some time in the offensive zone. So they were a big line for us on Saturday.
Without a doubt. Coming up, well, you know what? Before we get into what coming up, I wanted to talk a little bit about routine, because it ties into what's coming up with 3 games against 2 teams and back-to-back nights. But the hockey teams as a whole, I think in general teams have a routine when it comes to practices, when it comes to road trips or whatever, when the meal is and when you arrive to a rink, whatever it might be. But sometimes things get a little out of place, and I like when there's a delay or something like that. Does it kind of take some steam away from a team? Is it difficult to kind of come back from adjustment of schedule, for example, or if maybe an extended intermission or whatever it might be? Is there something that that it makes it a little more challenging?
I think it can.
Yeah.
If you allow it. For us, for example, this weekend we've seen extended intermissions on the road, and the game ended at after 10 o'clock p.m. and we were there at 4:30. So it's a long time to be on the road. But I thought Coach Hill and everybody did a good job of making sure the guys' heads were in the right place throughout the intermission. But yeah, I think all athletes are structured and put themselves in a routine and don't really like to veer off the highway there with that routine. And as coaches, we're the same way. We like to do things in a timely fashion at the time it's supposed to be done and try to get the result that's needed. And but with the way things are going now with the schedules and 3 games and 3 nights in 3 different cities, and you're just gonna have to be mentally tough, and you're just gonna have to take one period at a time and focus on that period and try to get yourself through the weekend. And it's still a big weekend. There's a lot of points sitting out there that we need to get, and there's no excuses, because of this type of travel, this type of trip. But certainly going to be an uphill battle for our guys, and it's going to be a good test.
Yeah. Well, and that's why I brought it up, because I do think that athletes as a whole, they have a system, and without sounding too OCD, when that gets upset a little bit, it can be difficult to adjust. And this week is a perfect example of that. As you mentioned, you've got a game in Minot on Thursday, in Bismarck Friday, and then at home on Saturday against Bismarck. How does that change the preparation during the work week?
Well, it's tremendously changed. First you need to make sure that your bodies are healed up and you get some rest and take care of your bodies. So you need the rest time as well as you need the preparation time. So I think your length of your practice is going to change.
Okay.
You're only going to, with playing on a Thursday, you're going to have a shortened week. So and then you have to prepare for 2 different teams.
Yeah.
Which normally doesn't happen in this league. It's not very often. It's certainly something that we've done, but like I said, you just you got to take it one day at a time. We're going on the road to take points in Minot. Obviously, we owe them. Our outcome wasn't very good the last time we were in their building, and we know it as a team. And I think that we have to go after those 2 points first and foremost. We have enough players inserted into the lineup as the weekend goes on. But it's not going to be played any different. We're going to go out there and give everybody our toughest game, and hopefully it works out for the best.
All right, focus on Minot on Thursday. Well, a quick look at the standings. Wings at the top of the Central Division. They have clinched a playoff spot and the Central Division Championship with 85 points in 47 games played. Bismarck is in second with 57 points in 48 games played. Minot in third with 50 points and 48 games played. The Wilderness then with 41 points and 44 games played. They are on the bubble there, with Austin knocking on the door with 38 points and 47 games played. St. Cloud with 35 points and 45 games played. Just 6 points between 4th and 6th. I've been watching that pretty closely each week, and watching how close things will get, I guess, as the end of the season approaches, and who will get that final position. Is it something that you guys pay attention to at all? Is there a team that you'd rather face in the first round?
No, I just hope they beat each other up, honestly. Just really, Either way, the series is going to be tough, no matter which one of those teams you play. Playoff hockey's tight, it's close. I think all those teams have their certain things that they do extremely well.
Right.
With the wilderness ability to skate and how structured your Norsemen are, and obviously good job Steve does in Austin. So no matter who we play, we're going to have to be good.
Sure.
Luckily we get to start at home. We've earned that right, but we got to win it.
Yeah. And like you said, I mean, any team can beat anybody on any given night, that's for sure, but playoff hockey changes everything too. So, but that's interesting to me, 6 points to see who it will be in that fourth playoff spot. All right, well, Coach, the final question I've got, we talked, Minot is the focus. What have you guys got to do right to come away with points on Thursday?
Well, I think we have to limit our turnovers. I think that's what got us in trouble there in the last game, and we just teams are really packing it in against us now, and just trying to hang on and get an early goal and hang on. And I think we have to be aggressive offensively and really get to the tough areas and score some goals against one of the top goaltenders in the league. But other than that, I just think defensively sound at this time of the year wins hockey games.
Very good point. Final question, follow-up to that, in fact. Weeks past, we've talked about playing between the dots and how those scoring chances have been a lot more effective. Do you feel like you saw that little bit of improvement in that this weekend? Because I thought so.
Yeah, definitely. It was definitely, especially from night to night. We had some perimeter shooting, even though there were good chances. We were on the perimeter a little bit on Friday night, and I thought Saturday night we were back to kind of owning that area of the ice. So our guys know how important it is. It's been stressed enough, and they stress it to themselves. So teams are doing a really good job of keeping guys out of that area. So it's a work ethic thing, and for us to win, we have to be there.
All right, sounds good. Well, I think that's about all I've got for you. I appreciate your time, and best of luck against Minot on Thursday and then Bismarck Friday and Saturday.
Thank you, Jay.
All right, folks, we'll return with the second portion of Wings Weekly coming up after this.
How you move matters. Avera Orthopedics helps you move freely and live life to the fullest with innovative treatment options customized to your bone, muscle, and joint needs. Whether you suffer from aches, breaks, tears, or dislocations, turn to the orthopedic team experienced in treating every body.
Welcome back to Wings Weekly as we continue on with our second portion. And as usual, a player joining me. This time it's Owen DuBois. Thanks so much for coming on the show.
Of course.
All right. And you call Madison, Wisconsin your hometown. So Midwest, you're probably not a whole lot different. I mean, I know I've been to Madison. It's bigger, certainly, than Aberdeen. But at least you're not coming from one of the coasts or something like that, or a warmer climate. So not a whole lot of culture shock coming to Aberdeen, I wouldn't imagine.
No, it's very similar. Yeah.
Well, you played most recently with the AAA with the Milwaukee Junior Admirals. Talk to me a little bit about that step from AAA into the NAL, and the style of play, the differences. This game speed would be faster, I would imagine.
100%. Yeah. The biggest thing that I noticed was different is the physicality.
Yeah.
And every time you touch the puck in this league, you're pretty much guaranteed to get hit at some point, whether it's 5 seconds after the play or while you still have the puck.
Right.
And that just didn't really happen in AAA. You had a lot more time, a lot more freedom to skate around with the puck.
Well, as is pretty standard, I guess, I want to start with your start. How did you get started in hockey? At what age were you? Did you have some influences or somebody that kind of helped you along or pushed you into it at all? Or was it something that you stumbled into? How did that go?
Well, my dad always loved hockey, so when I was like 2 or 3 years old, he just put me in skating lessons, and I started out hating it, actually, and I fell a few times and got hurt, and I didn't like it, so they ended up putting me in full gear like as a little kid, and then ever since I loved it.
Yeah. Once you've got that protection and feeling 10 feet tall and bulletproof with knee pads and stuff, then it's not so bad. It's funny to me how many times you do actually hear people say that they did kind of dislike it or hate it to start with, and then that love for the sport and the passion for it grows over the years. Okay, so your dad, as you said, he was a hockey fan. Did you have anybody that was an influence when it comes to a player or somebody that maybe was a bit of a mentor or something as you grew?
I'd say still my dad. Like
Yeah.
he played growing up, and
Right on,
in his
okay.
adult years he just played men's league, and he just loves hockey. He refs and everything. So him teaching me, and like he was definitely my mentor. I'd
Gotcha.
say.
Excellent. That's very cool. You can never underestimate the beer league and the beer league players.
True.
A lot of fun too. All right. Well, as Coach Langer just mentioned, we were talking about you a little bit, stepping into the lineup this weekend, and helping fill some spots and so on. With Schneider's, of course, dealing with the tragedy there, and up in Cloquet against the Wilderness, you got your first goal as a wing. That was pretty awesome. And then here on Friday night, boy, I thought you got your second. There was one there the second period that was really a heck of a save made by the goaltender, but looked like a great chance. Talk to me a little bit about being a rookie, one of the younger players on the team, and being in and out of the lineup, so to speak, and how when your name is called, how do I put this? How you get yourself ready? How do you get yourself, ready to go?
Well, obviously, coming to the rink, you don't know if you're in or not, so you just got to prepare the way that you would if you expected to play every single time.
Sure.
So during the day before the game, I always do my game day routine, like whatever it is. If I'm like here or if it's away, always prepare like I'm playing, because if I don't play, then at least I was like prepared, and
Sure.
It'd be better to prepare and not play than to not prepare and then play, and then then you're in trouble.
Good point. That's a very good point. Well, I know that, in years past, I've seen guys that have been, 16, 17 years old that, very seldom even, get to see the ice. And 3 years later, they're captain, and they're leading the team in minutes or whatever. So it takes a lot of work and being able to dedicate yourself, I guess, to the team, as you said, being able to prepare for it as if you're going to play every single time, it's very important. And certainly, as Coach Langer and I were just talking about, you had a great weekend, and it really, really great to see you be able to step onto the ice and help this team out in a time when they needed you. So that's got to feel pretty good.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
You're one of the taller guys on the team, and I was noticing that you're deceivingly fast. Like, when guys, they have longer strides.
Yeah.
Taller guys have longer strides, and your legs aren't moving quite as fast, so it doesn't look like you're. But for some reason, I was watching and I'm like, holy cow, you got some wheels there. You can pick them up and put them down. Who would you say is the fastest on this team?
Nathan Vertes.
Yeah.
Yeah. That man, he flies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he'll show us that every once in a while too, like he did on Saturday. Got out front of the D and ran away from him. You can always, when he's on a breakaway, it's like, okay,
You're not catching him.
No. You're not catching him. All right. How about hobbies? What do you like to do when you're away from the rink or away from the locker room? Is there something that you're a gamer or a hunter or fisherman?
During the summer, I'll fish. We have like a lake house up north in Wisconsin, but during the season, me and my Bill brother Jake Seibel, we play a lot of Xbox. Either it's together or not. It's a good way to pass time.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. It's such a Wisconsin and Minnesota thing to say up north. That just it's like we got a place up north. Let's see. How about I was just talking with Coach about routines, game day routines, whether it's on the road or not. The bus arriving at a certain time, a meal arriving at a certain time and place, whatever. What's your game day routine? Do you have any superstitions? And walk us through how your game day goes.
I used to be kind of superstitious. This year I've been trying to get myself away from that a little bit, but every home game I have the same exact routine. After the pregame skate, I'll go drive over to Subway and grab myself a sub to eat later in the day, and then I'll go back to the house and make whatever eggs I want that day. I always make eggs, whatever kind. And then I'd head downstairs, I'd nap for 2 or 3 hours, and then I'd wake up and eat my sub, and then it's pretty much time to go to the rink and get ready.
Excellent. The pregame nap is universal, I think.
it's not really in a lot of other sports either.
Yeah.
I was talking to other people about that, and they don't really understand it, but every hockey player, pretty much I know, takes a pregame nap.
That's interesting. Now I want to go poll some basketball players or something and ask them if they do that. Because you're right. Like, I think every hockey player I've ever talked to, the pregame nap is important. Let's see. Well, you touched on something I wanted to kind of follow up to. You said Jake Seibel, one of your billet brothers, he obviously a veteran. Seen a lot of minutes. He knows this town. He knows the league. You know, he's played at other teams in the Central too. How helpful is that? Of course, now we're getting pretty late in the season. You know, the rookies aren't really rookies anymore. But at the beginning of the season, having him to be able to say, you know, what about this or how, you know, that's probably got to be pretty helpful, I would imagine.
Yeah, the biggest thing was asking him about the schedule.
Yeah.
You know, I would always ask him, I'd text him, or I'd ask him the night before, what time do we got to be at the rink tomorrow? And I mean, it's pretty much the same time. I should have been able to pick up on that earlier, but it was always nice knowing, what time do we have to be here for a pregame skate? What time do we have to be there for practice? And what time do we usually get there before games? And he was a big help for that. Yeah.
Well, it's funny you say that because it generally is the same time, but I'm one like that too. I gotta know for sure. Is there a change? Has something happened? When are we leaving? Is it
exactly
whether the bus is departing at 2 o'clock for a 5 o'clock game in Bismarck? That's normally how it is, but
sometimes we leave earlier in the morning.
I want to make sure.
Yeah.
So I can certainly understand that. All right, say 10 years from now, what's your dream job? Taking hockey out of the equation.
I've always really been interested in engineering and physics, but I haven't really thought too much about it. Engineering's kind of always been in the back of my mind, but I've never really been full set on engineering. If something else comes up and that's what I want to do, I'm just kind of go with the flow, I guess.
Okay.
But definitely planning on engineering, I'd say.
Something in the sciences. Very cool.
Yeah.
All right, a couple of goofy questions here, and these are two of my favorites, so I go back to them sometimes. I try to mix this up a little bit, but these are a couple of my favorite would you rather questions. Would you rather have the ability to talk to animals and communicate with animals, or the ability to speak any language in the world? Or every language in the world, maybe I should say.
Well, speaking every language is definitely more practical, I'd say, but I think I got to go with the animals. That'd just be so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd definitely go animals.
Me too. All right, the next one. Would you rather have the ability to fly 10 miles per hour or the ability to run 100 miles per hour?
Run 100 miles per hour. Yeah, definitely. Because
that's a quick answer.
I've thought about that one before.
Yeah?
Yeah. Me and my friends, Seamus, we like to talk about just random would you rather questions, and that one's come up. I'd definitely rather run 100 miles per hour.
See, I've mentioned this before, but I always find that older people tend to answer with the fly, and younger people tend to answer with the running. I think you're in a hurry. Older people are oh, let's slow things down a little bit and enjoy it. But my thought process is always, you can fly over mountains, over bodies of water and stuff, but you can't run across water. So
that's true. And think about how much less time it would take you, in the morning. I could wake up 10 minutes later because I could get to the rink in a second. I mean, I don't live very far from the rink. It takes me about a minute to drive here, but still.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
I never thought of that. Yep. That's why I ask these questions. You never know what you're going to get. That's awesome. All right, 3 games in 3 days, 3 different communities. How do you guys as a team prepare for a road trip Thursday, then a road trip Friday, and then home, a road trip back home, and then game Saturday?
I think the biggest thing is going to be for our legs to be ready for all that. Because being in a bus and then playing the same day, that's really tricky. So, taking ice baths and whatever you need to do, putting your legs up on the wall, Epsom salt bath, anything like that. I think that's going to be huge this week, getting our legs ready.
Right. How about seeing 3 different rinks? One of them obviously being home, so that's not much of a change by any means, but 2 different teams in 3 games. How does that change up your preparation at all?
Well, the good thing is we've played both these teams multiple times,
That's true.
We're not strangers to them, and we know what we need to do against them, what works well. So I think that part should be fine. Like I said, it's just about our bodies being ready for it.
Okay. All right. Well, Owen, I think that's about all I've got for you. Appreciate you coming on here, though, and getting a chance for our fans to be able to get to know you a little bit. Remember, folks, Thursday, April 22nd at the Minot Minotauros, 7:05 puck drop. Friday, April 23rd at the Bismarck Bobcats, 7:15 puck drop. Watch all Wings away games at Buffalo Wings and Rings in Aberdeen or by logging on to hockeytv.com. Listen to 94.1 The Rock, hubcityradio.com, or the Rock app. Saturday, April 24th versus Bismarck here at home at the ODI Center. Corporate game sponsor is Hub City Radio. It's Presentation College night. All PC students will receive free admission courtesy of Presentation College. Educator Appreciation Night that night as well. All educators will receive $5 admission at the door with ID. Post-game party at Buffalo Wings and Rings with the team. Doors open at 5:30 and the puck always drops at 7:15. Get your tickets now at tickets.aberdeenwings.com. $10 general admission tickets are also on sale now at any of the 4 C Express locations in Aberdeen with additional purchase. Important dates coming up to mark your calendar. Parents Weekend is May 14th and 15th. Awards Banquet is May 16th. Buy your tickets now at aberdeenwings.com. First round home playoff games Friday and Saturday, May 21st and 22nd. More information on tickets will be available soon for playoff games. Corporate night sponsorships are still available for home games throughout the 2020-2021 season and playoffs. Call Aaron at 605-380-5852 for more information. Don't forget, Wings Weekly is now a podcast. Find the audio for this season's episodes on Spotify, Stitcher, or iHeartRadio. For all the latest news and information on the Wings, visit aberdeenwings.com or follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and on Instagram. That'll pretty much do it for this week's Wings Weekly. Again, Owen, I appreciate it. Owen DuBois from Madison, Wisconsin. Thanks so much for coming on the show.
Of course, it was a blast.
All right, folks, that'll do it for this week's Wings Weekly.